All right. Uh, Kampfar's ninth album is what I would say is almost almost a cumulative sort of statement for where they've been and where they're going, but also a good lesson in what was always a bit special about this Norwegian black metal band, and finding a reasonable way to make another record without touring on the last as much as they wanted to. So, Til Klovers Takt, I I believe that translates to the beat of or the beat of clover to the beat of the clover. However you would interpret that, it's to the beat of nature is the way that I see it. The cloven sort of beat of the hooves, as I would interject. Um, what does that mean? Well, it's a Norwegian pagan black metal band and a mid-paced one who have often focused quite a bit on both light shades of avant-garde rhythmic ideas, but also folkish ideas. They were one of the bands that helped define pagan black metal in early on, uh, with some early contributions to with Mock, which was Dolk, the band leader's original band that formed back in '91. Uh, for me, this is a band that's quite important, and maybe they're not as well known as Talk, Talk, or maybe even Eternus or Helheim. But I would put them up there with those bands. I think they're just as important because they help define the early possibilities of where uh, that sort of uh, later second wave or early second wave even possibilities beyond sort of a Bathory-esque approach to black metal, and made it. This band really made it their own from the start. They were, I wrote this very long review of their last record where I didn't really talk about the record. I talked about the history of the band and why they were important to me, and where I discovered them, and the sort of different stages of their career over time. Where the first couple records were very important in that scene, and then I think around 2003 they had some big personnel changes, and around 2011 I think Mare released, and that was quite popular and unique for its time. It's one of the sort of bigger points of remembrance for me for the band, and then they um, variously iterated on that until kind of returning back in 2019. So not getting to tour on that record meant that they went right into this one and spent a year uh, with a process they describe as taking the four seasons to invoke the land where they walk. And that's quite a beautiful scenic part of Norway in a valley, which is invoked in a lot of their video content for this album's promotion, and in some of the imagery on the album, and certainly in the lyrics, where it's very focused on bits of history of Norway and bits of history stylistically in where Kampfar have been and where they've gone. So we get a very characteristic record from this band, which is generally mid-paced pagan black metal. Um, and I guess if you're familiar with groups like Belanos and that kind of, there's a little bit of a storm and an evil. I don't know, evil, whatever you want to say. It's black metal. Uh, there's a malevolent touch. There's an angered reaction to a lot of what they do, even if it remains mid-paced and thoughtful and a little bit folkish at times. So, the character of this record is sort of uh, verdant, but it's also aggressive and dark at the same time. So it's a little bit like like a Scandinavian horror film in a way, where there's a little bit of darkness there. There's also a really a celebration of the beauty of where they are as well. So there's this current of dark and realistic nature running through their work that I really appreciate. So you'll find I really enjoy spiritually attuned extreme metal, and I think that's what drew me to this band a long time ago and continues to. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, this is a little bit more accessible in terms of the mid pace, the strong melodies used, but none of it is so performative or in your face that it loses its integrity. It's still quite a serious band, quite a sincere band, and one that doesn't concern itself with a lot of ridiculous or performative bullshit outside of the stage. A lot of these songs are uh, definitely written for a larger crowd. They draw large crowds, so it's sort of uh, on the level of like an Enslaved or that kind of group rather than just a small club show in most cases. I think that's important context because it just this the the recording is very professional and clean sounding, but it still manages to be a black metal record. It's just that it burns in sort of a middle. There's a burning core to all of it that is not flashy or ridiculous, as much as a lot of black metal fans outside of Europe uh, would. There won't be anything more than middling about that. So it's a hard sell, I think, for a lot of people when there isn't a lot of bombast and flair, which is kind of what a lot of people want out of anything even remotely 90s anymore. So this is modern black metal as far as I would see it, but from originators, or quite original artists. So that's my perspective. Take it as you will. I think uh, it's not their best album overall, but it is one of their more representative albums. It's a good place to start. I have my own taste. I think Mare and their second album, however you'd pronounce the title of that one, is those are their sort of strongest ones overall. But this one I think stands out just as much. It needs a bit more time with me, but I do like the cumulative feeling of it. There's a holistic representation here that you really get the essence of Kampfar in this sort of contained conceptual release. So I definitely recommend it and see if that fits with your taste. Though I know black metals can be a very personal thing for people. So there you go.